Hello, this is my review and recap for the fall season of 2023, Week 2, Part 3. And now let's get started. Dark Gatherings, Episode 14. In this episode, we get to see the group as they're approaching the old tunnel, and we get some story about what all is going on in the tunnels, the various activity in there. And all of a sudden, something happens. There's a mirror that wasn't there before, and things seem a bit off. As Keitaro, Yayoi head into the tunnel, technically all three of them, one of them's not actually going in. We get to see her standing outside as Eiko is approached by another ghost. Or, well, what looked to be a person claiming to be a YouTuber, wanting to do a video on the place. But as they're walking around, they see that they cannot get back out of the tunnel as soon as they exit from either end or even turn back around. It's the tunnel again, they're back inside. We get to hear about all of the organs being ripped out of the victims. They're not the most necessary to live before the face gets ripped off, and the axe-wielding spirit will then finish them off. We get Keitaro and Yayoi as they take out the fake Eiko that's with them and try to hurry over before their friend gets taken away by the spirit. As they reach the end of the tunnel, they see her being dragged off, and the spirit is taunting them. They try to get their priorities set before going in, and the episode ends there. I would rate this episode a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Ron Kaminohashi's Forbidden Detective Episode 2. In this episode, we get to see as Ron is waiting for the next case to pop up, and we're told that cases aren't really coming in because we don't have the best detective here. He's just kind of sidelined to whatever activities they present him. So they go out, take on the case, and find out what's up with the piggy bank and why it's lighter. The two sisters at the place are talking to them about the mysteriously lighter piggy bank and about some calls coming in with no one talking on the other end. It's kind of creepy. Afterwards, they leave and go investigate by the river where the other case is going on. And we get to see Toto and Ron interacting with Amamiya, and she's like telling them off for showing up and that they should not involve themselves in this case, but she'll allow them for a little bit. And then we get the answer onto what happened with the murder over there. They call the two at the piggy bank issue over, and we get an explanation that the guy who was dead in the river was a stalker, and the sister there had grabbed the piggy bank and killed the guy as he chased her. She then replaced it and used a suitcase to drag the body out to the river and dispose of him. Then Ron tells the murderer to go drown herself. And at that point, everybody's trying to stop the woman from going through with what Ron said. And after all that, we find out that Amamiya has fallen for Ron. And we get a scene with Blue who has forbidden Ron from ever taking on any more detective cases. He'd even be sentenced to death if he were to. They are trying to figure out if he's doing more detective work or not, so they send one of their members out to check on this. This episode I would rate a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it well enough. Deadmount Death Play Part 2 Episode 1. In this episode we get to see the aftermath from the last season, as we had multiple factions interacting together, including Polka the Corpse God, Solitaire, and the Firebug. We get to see a lot of reporters that want to check out what has happened and get the scoop, but a lot of them are being turned away. And we get to see a little bit about Polka's past, or the Corpse God, I should say, his past when he was younger. We also get one of the reporters that has entered the building and is trying to get an interview with the Corpse God, the mysterious fortune teller, and trying to figure out how they have interacted with some of this stuff that has happened, or at least according to their speculation. The reporter named Caucho, and they definitely notice the firebug's writing on the wall and realizes it is recent. We also have a scene with Zhao Yu, the assassin that's been assigned to watch over them, and he's complaining to Polka's grandfather, "Why should I not kill the fake Polka? Why should I follow him around and protect him?" It's like, are you questioning my orders? Do you not believe what I say? It's like, okay, continue protecting him. And we also get to see a lot of different factions moving in to this one area, especially after what Solitaire did with the blimp in the last season and the symbol he threw on it. We also see a scene at the end of the episode where one of these people, assumably an assassin, has murdered someone. Not sure what's going to happen there. I would rate this episode an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm in Love with the Villainous, Episode 2. In this episode, we get to see the results of the competition they had and how they're going about it. So with the final one being calculable for Ray's magic, the Prince Rod decides to give his speculation that, hey, you missed on purpose, and that you may have multiple magic types. Since she has 2 types, she's not able to get a score. With this, Ray is talking to Claire and saying, hey, that means I won this because the bet was if you won, not if I lose. Since she did not technically lose, and Claire did not win, Ray was technically the winner in this competition, and now Claire has to follow any one thing that Ray says. Ray tells her to promise never to give up. Claire is shocked by that, but decides to accept it. Later we get to see Claire is getting a new maid, so they're checking to see what candidates are good for her. And then Claire sees Ray and is like, nope, not taking this one. Claire's father comes in and he's like, yeah, if she doesn't want her, then we don't have to hire her. And then Ray starts saying a few things, and her father tells everyone to leave the room but Ray. Afterwards, Ray and Claire's father exit the room, and Claire's father says, would you take this person to be your maid, in which Claire accepts unhappily. With this, we get to see Ray and Claire and another maid as they go around their daily business and showing how the one maid will swap off sometimes with Ray depending on, like, schoolwork. Ray will be there during school, but the other maid cannot during this time. I would rate this episode a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. The Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent Season 2, Episode 2. And in this episode we get to see as Say has to dress incognito as she is going to Morgenhofen, and they do not want her identity discovered while she is out and about. She is traveling around the town there, and there's a lot of commotion around a ship. As she goes to investigate, there is a man who's been severely injured, and they're calling for someone with healing magic, and Say decides to ignore the bodyguards that tell her not to. She goes up and offers them a very powerful potion that should fix what's wrong with the guy. She hands it over, and later at night she is being asked by the captain of that ship where she got this potion and is offering her a reward for the potion. She then decides to ask about rice and some other ingredients, which, when he's showing her around the wares that they have, she does find the rice and is very excited. She decides to bring it back with her and make some rice dishes for everyone, including the other saint. We also get to have a scene with Hawk and Valdek as they're talking about Say eventually marrying someone, and like, hey, Hawk, if you're not going to do anything, I'm going to offer myself to her rather than let some random person marry her. And Hawk did not respond well to that. I would rate this episode an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it quite well. Helk episode 2. And in this episode, we're watching as Helka's working with the army there, and as they're fighting off against many monsters, we see that Edil is one of the other soldiers that Helk ends up protecting, and he is following Helk around. After a while of fighting monsters, Helk and Edil head off to another town to go help protect them. There they meet Alicia, a leader of a mercenary group that's helping fight off monsters. No matter what had happened, no matter what time of day it is, there are always monsters attacking, and they had to just keep fighting and fighting. Eventually, the king decides to send Kles, Helk's younger brother, off on a mission to go defeat the demon lord. Kles and his friends have returned, but Kles is not doing very well at all and not even conscious. Hoping that he gets better soon, the warriors are just standing by, and the townspeople do not even know about how badly Kles has been injured. But monsters start attacking, and the townspeople are all pissed off because why haven't the monster attacks stopped? You defeated the demon lord. I would rate this episode an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm still looking forward to the next one. 7 Deadly Sins 4 Nights of the Apocalypse, Episode 1. This episode we meet Percival and his grandfather as they are training on the island. They kill a rock bird and cut it up for dinner or lunch, and we get to see that there was a symbol on it that fades away. We also are revealed that this is Percival's 16th birthday, and at this point he is able to leave God's finger, the rocky mountain that they live on way above the clouds and go out on adventures and live his life. But Percival tells Grandpa that, nah, he's good. He just wants to, continue living there. He's happy and enjoy being around his grandpa. Later, we get to see a, holy knight riding a boat across the clouds arrive. He asks Percival where his, grandfather is, and then the knight ends up going over there and attacking his grandfather. Percival comes up to the scene, and the knight tells him to wait his turn. He'll be dealt with shortly, but Percival decides to go in and then ends up getting attacked by the Holy Knight. The Holy Knight leaves after thinking that he's finished them both off, and while Percival's still able to get up, goes over to his grandpa. His grandpa reveals that that Holy Knight was Ironside, Percival's father, and that he should seek out his father and ask him what happened. From what Ironside said to his grandpa, that there was some sort of prophecy and he had to go take care of some stuff. Take care of any potential threats in the future, like his son and father there. I'd rate this episode a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Tokyo Revengers Tenjiku Arc, Episode 2. In this episode, our protagonist decides to travel back to the future to find out some more about what's going on, and we are given a list of names, one of which is Kurokawa, and is assumed that he is like the leader here amongst everything that's going on. We also still know that a few other people have been helping him out, so our protagonist heads over to a church where it's about around Christmas time, and he sees Taiju, the leader of the Black Dragons that he had defeated in the previous season. From there, they talk a bit and get together with Naoto, and they discuss some stuff that had happened in the past. We also get to see Inupi and his friend there go in with a bunch of guys into where they're having their meeting and start threatening Taiju. And at this point, Naoto and our protagonist leave the building and end up seeing Kisaki Teta as he shoots at them. Naoto gets in the way, and Takemichi is just struck with fear and sorrow. We get to see Takemichi's old friend, now in the future, being told by Kurokawa to attack Takemichi. After he shoots Takemichi, they start leaving, and Takemichi starts reaching over for Naoto's hand and goes back in time. We see Kisaki Teta notice this happen. I would rate this episode an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it quite a bit and gave us a lot of information to work with. The Eminence in Shadow, Season 2, Episode 2. In this episode, we get to see as Sid drops in out of nowhere in the middle of the fight between the Tyrant and the Spirit Fox. They end up departing when he shows up, and we get the guy who's chained to the building that decides to try to attack Sid and gets dismembered immediately as Sid doesn't even turn around to finish him off. We also get a scene with Mary and Sid's sister there. As they're traveling around, they end up getting attacked by the Tyrant, but they're not doing too well, so Mary decides to drink Claire's blood and revealing that the vampire hunter is a vampire herself. As they're still struggling with the fight, we then get Sid drop in out of nowhere, take care of the tyrant, and disappear. He ends up going over to the vampire's tower to start raiding all of the gold they have, and he decides, hey, I've been showing up too late for the boss fights lately, so maybe I should show up early. So he goes straight to the top of the tower and then finishes off the guy who's trying to revive the vampire queen, who had decided vampires should stop drinking blood because it was making humans attack them. And with the lack of drinking blood, they were able to go out into the sunlight without the sun harming them, except for the vampire queen herself. So she ended up taking her own life, and this vampire that was just defeated by Sid wants to revive her. Well, that plan might be out the window now. I'd rate this episode an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm giving The Disgraced Noble Lady I Rescued a Crash Course in Naughtiness, Episode 2. In this episode, we get to see as Alan's trying to come up with a new scheme for Charlotte to just experience various things. And then we also get to see a new character introduced, Miacha, the delivery person. We get that she's not going to say anything about the disgraced noble lady who's there, Charlotte, but we get some interaction between Charlotte and her for a little bit. The Alan, he decides to order something after watching Mia a little bit. He gets a punching bag and a glove. He then tries to have Charlotte use it, but she does not feel up to it, so Alan decides to use magic to make the glove hit him. We then get a, that's not right, you should not do those kinds of things from Charlotte. She says she doesn't want to see him ever do that again. So, Alan apologizes. We also get to hear about how Alan is nicknamed the Demon Lord. And at the end of the episode, we also get to see some girl in a tree looking down at the house, saying that she's found him. I would rate this episode a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It was wholesome.